for GateWorld.net. I am David Reed here with Mr. Colin Cunningham. Finally, sir, we've been trying to get a hold of you for a long time.
No kidding, man.
So you have been busy lately.
I have.
What are some of the most recent projects, other than Centigrade, which I'll get to?
Yeah.
What
Well,
are some?
it's this past year really has been a bit of a whirlwind because as much as I've been, acting, which is my day job, I really began making a point of directing and producing more projects. Because you can only stand on a piece of tape for so long, or you're constantly, waiting for the phone to ring. And I've really made a point this year. It's like, no, I'm gonna start doing my own projects. I'm gonna stop waiting around. So we actually won a Kickstarter award, which started Centigrade off. And it's just been a whirlwind of festivals and awards and all that kind of stuff. And right now, that's why I have the mustache. I don't normally make this kind of fashion choice. This is for a thing I'm doing called Fireball, which is kind of a Stephen King kind of thing. A guy, his DNA gets changed and he's impervious to fire, and he can look at you and literally make you spontaneously combust. So I play a tabloid reporter that's hounding him and obsessed with his story, and I track him everywhere he goes.
Interesting.
And last night I got lit on fire. It was awesome.
Oh, really?
Fun. And it's crazy because you literally think, what a job.
Uh-huh.
Literally, I went up in fire and had to spin around and fall out of a window. And it's just, it's no greater job in the world. It's just a lot of fun. So it's been a busy year. It's been really cool.
Wow. Where will this particular project be available?
I think it's going to go to the Sci-Fi Channel, I
Okay.
believe. Yeah.
Like a movie of the week?
Try not to ask him too many questions. Just go in there, learn your lines, do your thing.
Do they hate it when actors ask questions? They just want you to
not
do
when
your
it's
part?
about the character, but I never, when I'll go into an audition, I don't want to know who's directing, who's producing, because if it's somebody big, then you get nervous, and if it's somebody you've never heard of, you may think, oh, well, maybe this isn't such a big, so it's just like every job's the same. You show up and you just nail it, or you try to nail it and do the best you can.
So usually the director is not in that room, the casting director
Depends.
is.
More times than not they are. Sometimes it'll literally be just a casting director, somebody such as yourself, and there's a camera, and you will read the scene. That's a small percentage of times where you'll get cast from tape. But mostly, there's physical people in the room, and that's always best to do. That way they can tell you to bring it up, bring it down, take it where we're going to take it.
Sweet. All right, yeah. Tell us about the genesis of Centigrade.
Centigrade.
This story,
Yeah, Centigrade in a nutshell is about a guy who lives in an old, dilapidated, busted-up trailer. There's no wheels on it. It's just laying dead in the weeds. And he does a bad thing, and he wakes up in the morning, and it's rolling. It's rolling down the highway. It's being towed by a big black pickup truck. And basically the doors won't open and the windows won't break, and he can't get out. And that's essentially what it's about. It's about a man trapped. And that's basically it in a nutshell. But the film, we got the Kickstarter award through the Directors Guild. And it was a real opportunity for me as a director to do something a little bit different. And the challenge was there's maybe 3 or 4 lines of dialogue throughout the whole film, and then it's all basically visual imagery and telling the story through images. So in a way, it's sort of an homage, a tribute to Steven Spielberg's Duel. I don't know if you ever saw Duel, but it's great. Great old lost Spielberg classic. It's awesome. Dennis Weaver plays a guy just driving down the highway, and he gets tormented by a diesel rig that's trying to kill him, and it's just a fantastic project. So anyway, but the film turned out really well. So we've actually qualified for an Academy Award, which is hard to do because you've got to get into an Academy sanctioned festival, and then once there, you have to win, which is not an easy thing to do. And basically, that's kind of it. So we've been traveling all over the world, and it's opened up doors. We're developing it into a feature, and just some good things are happening.
So it's not a feature yet?
No, not yet. Not yet. We basically started off making a short, and but we're developing it into a feature film, and we should have that done in the next 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty cool. It is.
Okay.
It's pretty cool.
Did you write it?
I did. I wrote it, directed it, and acted in it. And I didn't want to act in it. That was the last thing I wanted to do. If anything, I really wanted to focus on just directing. But my lead actor, the guy that I wanted, basically was blowing me off. He wasn't answering his phone. I said, fine, all right, great, I'll do it. And you know what? It actually, I won't say it worked out better, but it worked out quicker because I didn't need to spend a lot of time talking to the other actor. I knew exactly.
You know what you want.
I knew what I needed. And,
I can't find anyone who's as good as me.
Well, it was quick. So it was like, put the camera here, and I was able to just react and make all, basically do it quicker. But it's hard to flip back and forth. To go from acting now. Okay, great. Now put the camera here. Okay, then you act, and then put the camera here. Okay, you're doing. So it's a weird kind of thing. You got to be really prepared. But it takes a lot out of you. It really does. It takes a lot out of you.
where did this story idea come from for you? What were you in the shower
started,
and it's like, that soap bubble,
it was
I have an epiphany.
It was one of 3 scripts that I wrote, 15, 16 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, literally sat in a box for that long. So if you got a good idea, it doesn't necessarily mean that, just because you didn't do it this year or 10 years ago, doesn't mean that it won't come around.
Yeah, timing.
Yeah, and it was basically through, I had these scripts sitting in a box, and one was 2 hitmen show up for the same hit, and they discover each other on alternate rooftops. It was a short subject. What would happen if 2 guys they need to barter or lead to who's gonna kill the guy to get the money? Well, I want it. Well, you want it. And basically play a game of charades. Sounds like, and they try and make all that kind of stuff. And then the other, of course, was Centigrade, a guy trapped in a trailer. And then the third one was a kid in a soccer ball kind of story, but a sweet kind of thing. Anyway, when the Kickstarter came up, I thought, great, a good old thriller. And the nice thing about it is that it's not a short trying to be a feature. Sometimes people try and do more than what it is, but it's exactly what it is. And I'm just a big, huge fan of Rod Serling and the Twilight Zone. I thought when the Kickstart stuff through the DGC, the Directors Guild, came around, it was like, let's do this, So that was basically it.
What do you think the film's message is? Is it about redemption, forgiveness?
Yeah,
is it
there's
about
definitely a bit of
vendettas,
Judgment Day, atonement, because at the end of it, but all of a sudden you become him. You're essentially trapped with this guy. And hopefully, if everybody maybe thinks twice a little bit about the decisions they make, and maybe a little bit of karma, and maybe, who knows, at the end of the day, there might be something waiting for you. So I think it's the message is to maybe think twice, no matter where or how you come from, But I think the trick for me directorially was to create a guy who's a bad guy. I mean, just
really is a bad guy.
Yeah, bad guy that you just would not feel sorry for at all, and take him through the process of basically being trapped like an animal, and seeing if I could get the audience to actually have some compassion for him. So here's a guy that you'd never think twice of. I mean, just a real dirtbag, and yet because you're trapped with him, you've got to go through everything that this guy goes through, and you actually end up. Maybe some people are like, "What? I didn't feel sorry for him," and other people are like, "God, I kind of felt sorry for him. He's such a pig. He's just filth. He's garbage." And yet, at the end of the day, we're all, to be trapped, and it's brings out a bit of the humanity and all.
Find your humanity.
Yeah,
exactly.
So it's a trip. But I mean, he definitely gets his comeuppance. There's no question about it. And sometimes it's not a pretty sight, but that's what it is.
Sweet.
Yeah.
You're originally American.
Yeah. What's weird? I never even heard the term American until I came up to Vancouver.
It's North America,
I'm from L.A. It's like you're from L.A. Americans have big turquoise belt buckles and cowboy hats.
And spit tobacco, yeah.
Yeah, so it was like, oh, he's an American. He's American. But so it's weird. I never really heard the term American until I came up to Vancouver. Oh, you're American. You're American. You're American. It's like, yeah, I guess I am. Yeah, I'm an American.
From the States.
Well, it's weird because it doesn't work the other way. It's not like Canadians go down south. Oh, you're Canadian. You're Canadian. You're Canadian. You're Canadian.
They're Canadians here,
Yeah, you're living your life. You don't really care, especially in L.A. You can't understand why somebody
it's such a melting pot.
Why would somebody live in Arizona or Utah?
I'm in Arizona.
No, but you know what I'm saying? In L.A., you've got the beach, you've got the snow, you've got the surf. I mean, you've got in the desert, it's all there within a couple of hours, so it's hard to comprehend somebody living in Illinois. Where is
I'm from Illinois originally. What's up with that?
From Illinois, living in Arizona? See, I did my research on you.
Jeez. What was the original decision that had you go to Vancouver? Was it a limit of number of jobs in LA?
I was living. Well, I should say not living at all in LA. I was surviving, trying to get through day to day, but I was literally living on Hollywood Boulevard and Western, and there's a pool hall there, and I was like living above the pool hall, and there was an ambulance out front every other night of the week, and I thought, I got to get out of here. And trying to get auditions, I mean, it was just impossible. So I basically said, screw this. I'm gonna go to film school and work behind the camera. So I saw a little ad for the Vancouver Film School, and I thought, great, it's not even in the country, it's not in LA or New York, and it's only a 3-4 month program. That's where I'm going. I'm going to Vancouver. So I thought, I'm going to go to Vancouver, go to school, make my own movie, and put me in it. And so that's what I did. I came up to Vancouver, went to school, and started up my own production company, and made a movie, and put me in it. And I thought, even if it takes 10 years, it'll be one more movie than I'll have with me than I would if I sat around Hollywood waiting for somebody. Hey, look at me. Here's my headshot. Here's my headshot. So that was that. But basically, when I came up here, I had no idea Vancouver had what it had. We were doing Jump Street and Wise Guy and The Commission, all these different shows, and Highlander. And these are all shows I assumed that were being shot in L.A., but they were all shot up here. So by fluke, fate. But I lived in my Honda Civic for 2 weeks out the park. Showered out of the drinking fountain for the first couple of weeks I was here in Vancouver.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Man, oh,
Look
man.
at me now. Now I have a mustache. So don't try that at home.
Is that good life lessons? You know where you don't want to be now, and it's something to work for.
It's God. I just remember. I'll tell you a quick story. I remember I was working on a show that actually here in Vancouver, but I think I'd moved out of my place for sublet. I didn't have a place to stay.
Okay.
So the production actually put me up in a hotel, and it was the Delta Suites Hotel over on Hastings Street, or near Hastings. And I walk into this beautiful, gorgeous room, and it was like this Japanese origami thing with rice paper. It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I thought, wow, this is just so gorgeous. And I looked out the window and across the street. And across the street is where I used to do telephone sales. Okay, and I did telephone sales for 2 years, just a miserable job. And it used to be at night, calling people after they got home from work. Anyway, so it was around 6, 7 o'clock at night. I look across the street, and there's a guy sitting in my desk on my phone, doodling, this is your name here calling from Money Suck, Have you got a moment? Let me tell you about the new promotion that we're doing, whatever. And I just see this guy doing his script. And I thought, here I am, 100 yards away, 50 yards away, and I'm a world away. Here I've been invited to do this show, and I'm working tomorrow, and I'm working with all these, familiar faces. And I look across the street, and there's the guy that had my old job, So it's a trip, So I never take it for granted, man. This time tomorrow I could be back across the street again. So you just do what you do. You do it with a smile on your face, and that's the end of that.
Man, oh man. So Major Davis. Obviously
Davis.
we're GateWorld.
Major mustache.
I remember in 2003 would you have to get this job?
Yeah.
I'd love you to tell that story.
Oh God! All right.
Please,
all right,
that's the genesis of Major Davis.
Right.
So season 2.
See, it was yes. Was it season 2? I believe it was season 2. Yes,
and they had great episode.
They had this oneer. It was a oneer, and it was at the command center or whatever. I'm looking at the gate, and they had the whole cast was there, and I was the last guy, and it was a one shot. So it went from Richard to Amanda to Teal to Michael Shanks to General Hammond to technician, and then it came to me. Everybody was there, and it was a one shot, so with no cuts. The camera just followed each person as they said their line, and get to me at the last one, I'd be like, cut. Screw up my line. I couldn't get my line. It was Chevron Asgard 672 dashes not engaged or whatever the hell it was, and I just couldn't get this friggin' line. So okay, go again.
Was this your first episode?
No, this wasn't my first episode.
Oh,
it wasn't my first
so
episode.
this is not the
but it's like
matter
the
of time.
second episode.
Oh, okay.
And Richard, Amanda, they get to me, and I'm like, again.
Oh, you just don't remember it?
Blank. I kept blanking on the line. Anyway, so Peter DeLuise is directing, and we'd done maybe 7, 8, 9 of these things. It's like bad. It's bad.
Oh man.
And Gary Jones was like, he knows my line. I don't know my line, but Gary's like, So finally, we do it one more time, and we get to the end of May again, and I totally freeze, and I hear this disembodied voice 1,000 yards away from the back of the studio saying, "Who'd you have to to get this job?" And I just died. I just thought, oh my God, and it was Peter doing it as a joke to break the tension.
Oh, it was a joke.
It was a joke.
Oh, I thought he was pissed.
No, it was a joke. It was a total joke. It was a total joke, but it was awful. But I know Peter, and it helped, and we did it the next time.
Loosened you up.
Yeah, and we got it done because he was an actor. He worked forever, and he's a great actor himself, and it was just. You knew, like, let's just call it as we see it. You can't remember your line, you're blanking out, so let's just all have a laugh, and we'll try one more time, and it worked. It was fun.
They brought you in for A Matter of Time, which was a great sci-fi episode. Major Paul Davis from the Pentagon, let's take General Hammond to Washington, and we'll be back in 5 minutes,
Yeah.
Did you, I know you've had this question asked to you so many times, did you have any idea that the fan following of the show and what the response of this character would be?
I did, but boy, was it underestimated. I just thought, oh, cool, sci-fi show. I don't even know if it had been syndicated. All I knew was that they would bring people back. And as an actor, awesome. If they could bring me back, that's awesome. So I just remember thinking, man, just do the best job you possibly can. Go in there, nail it as best you can, and maybe they'll bring you back. I had no idea that I'd be on the show 5, 6, 7 years or whatever it was, and travel all over the world and meet all these people. I had no clue. And just the community and, oh man, I mean, seriously, it's been a life-changing thing. I've really grown as just a human being. Because, you meet the Make-A-Wish kids and the
my gosh,
and all that kind of stuff. And it's just, this isn't just a job or a show. You know what I mean?
It's a community.
Yeah, it's a real wonderful thing, and I've been really blessed to be a part of it. I really have. In fact, it's funny. I actually bumped into Richard Dean Anderson yesterday, and Richard, I haven't seen Richard in forever, and even on set, it's not like we chatted all that much. And I just, I said, hey, Richard, this has been great, man. And I don't think I ever got the chance to say thanks, because I've been all over the world, Australia, New Zealand, and London, and France, and blah 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 blah. And he's like, well, not like I had anything to do with it, but of course he does. Richard doesn't like it, he can just snuff you right out. But yeah, he's the man. He signed the checks, So anyway, so it's been a real privilege.
What episodes stand out to you over the course of these years? I mean, you did fewer, unfortunately, as the show went on. Descent was a great one. I loved that. Yeah, I'm not even sure which is what anymore, but I remember my first one, naturally. Of course.
I remember that like the back of my hand, and of course working with Don, who holds just a real sacred spot in my heart, because we went back before Stargate, so it was just great to be there and to work with him. And the first time I worked with Richard, I think it was Foothold, hanging up there with MacGyver for 12 hours. And he's like, oh, shit, don't say anything. Oh, that was stupid. You shouldn't have said that.
You were nervous.
Oh, totally. Terrified. But I think that now I look at it as an overall. I don't remember singular episodes anymore, as opposed to just...
Descent was the sinking mothership.
Ah, okay.
So,
but I remember Don. I remember Amanda. I remember watching Michael Shanks, just thinking, God, this guy's a great actor, and just different little moments like that, and just how cool it was, And I don't really, I didn't do Atlantis, so I'm not sure the community there, but I believe that SG-1 was different. It really was. The early years, the first 4 or 5 seasons were magic. They really were. And anybody who was on it, man, was really lucky to be there.
How'd you meet Don?
I met Don, I think the first show that we worked on 15 years ago. It was either Fire on the Mountain or some other movie of the week when they were really spitting out the movies of the week. And Don took me under his wing. He really did. He kind of showed me the ropes. I was a big green in Vancouver, and it was great. He kind of looked out for me, and it was great. It was really, really cool. I was always proud to show up on a show and then see Don there. It was like, I'm still here, and he'd go, good to see you again, kid. It was great, because it's a fickle business. You never know if you're going to never work again. So it was always. And Don was one of the first, if not the first actor that I ever worked with in Vancouver, and so it was kind of like this little marker. It was good to always show up and to see him on a set. It was like, great, hey Don, I'm still here.
That's right.
It was cool. It was good.
And you still are.
Yeah, still here.
His passing was such a shock to all of us. Yeah. It was completely unexpected.
Yeah, no, totally. It's funny because there's different imagery or icons, I suppose, of the show. You got Teal'c and Amanda and Richard, of course, but to me it was always Don. Anytime I saw a Stargate SG-1 poster, it was Don's chrome dome. It was just Don Davis was Major Hammond, man, and it was like everything revolved around Hammond, and it was it's a real drag.
Yeah. Well, he was the lighthouse keeper.
Totally.
And the father figure. Yeah. And when they got into trouble, that was always the guy who would either bail them out. Or, just keep the light on until they were able to make it back.
It's so weird to even think of it in the past tense.
I know.
Don, just you watch the stuff, he has such presence, you know what I mean? So you gotta up your game when you're just standing next to the man. The man doesn't even have to say anything, all he has to do is stand there. But once he opened that voice, he was like, just awesome. It's a real shame.
What are some of the charities that you support, where your fans can reach out
and help?
Well,
it's funny. It's like I remember first doing Stargate, and I was like, I got to get serious about a charity here, because it's a good thing. But everybody else has got such great charities. I'd just be kind of supporting those, JR has got his thing. And
cystic fibrosis.
Yeah, and so I've always definitely, even Dan Payne's got something going on over the weekend, so I lent as much of my time and effort to that as I could in terms of putting stuff up for auction and stuff. I was actually working that day. But I like the animal causes. You know, I think because these guys have got all the kids and then this and then that. So and I think I got a bit of a soft spot in my heart for that because my fan club once got me adopted a wolf for me for a year.
That's right. I remember that.
It was the coolest damn thing, and I literally got to go out and meet the wolf and be part of the pack. And we all kind of walked around for the day. So that kind of stuff I think is pretty sweet.
Where do you see your career going next? You know, I mean, Disintegrate has been pretty well received.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, we'll find out. Well, we get to submit for an Academy Award in October. So that'd be interesting. We got bragging rights until October anyway. I mean, the odds are still whatever, but you just got to walk the path and smile. But I don't know. I think that's one of the reasons why I got into this business. Yeah, I have no idea what the hell's going to happen next. And that's part of the fun. I think if I had to show up to a 9-to-5 job every day, I'd go nuts. You know, I don't want to know what's going to happen. I love insecurity. I don't want security. It's death. You know, I mean, for me anyway. Not from anybody who has a job. But I mean, my job, I get to show up, and every day I do, it's completely different people, completely different locations, completely different page, dialogue, and even after you're saying the dialogue 30 times in a row, and it's 30 different ways of saying it. So I'm addicted to a life of no ordinary moments, you know. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you, it's weird though, because you become a bit of a junkie for it, because when you actually have a moment to sit and stay with things as they are, and you don't have the stimuli, sometimes you can go a bit nutty.
Well, as long as you're happy doing what you're doing, you know, that's the important thing.
Yeah. No, if you can get paid doing the thing you love, you'll never work another day in your life.
That's exactly right.